looking for this?
Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Kel. This is
Yes,
Colby.
sir.
And we're a little bit late on this, but we did go watch the Marvels on yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, last
because it wasn't
yesterday.
at night.
Yeah, we went to go watch the Marvels yesterday, and so we're just now getting to film our review today. So we are gonna go ahead and talk about this movie. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen it, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting now. All right, you know the question. What'd you think?
I was actually pleasantly surprised. I would say.
Okay.
I feel like recently I've had super high expectations for movies, and I feel like this did suffer some from like the writer's strike and the actor's strike, not being able to advertise as much for it. So my excitement level wasn't as high, but I feel like that necessarily wasn't a bad thing because I went into it, just hoping for a fun time, and that's what I got. I feel like I enjoyed it pretty good, and there's a lot of things I liked, and I guess we can start there.
Yeah.
With things we liked, and I feel like we both agreed on the action actually,
Yeah.
being pretty good. I mean,
it was really good, and you got to be we got to be kind of like contextual here. Like Captain Marvel's broken, and I think everybody knows that. It's pretty widely accepted by this point. So she's broken, and what they did to combat that is made it to where she's working with the other Miss Marvel, and then I'm gonna call her Photon, but Photon. Every time they use their powers, they switch, and so that was the only way for her to not be broken in this movie. But I think what they did with that was really interesting. The action sequences were they were choreographed well. The music behind them was really good. The way that they worked as a team was also really good.
Yeah, and I think that was probably my favorite part too. I mean, just the way they made it work. I mean, because something like that, when they switched, I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah,
and that's something I didn't really think about going into the movie, but they did execute and make cool aspects out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I appreciate. I mean, when you have a cool idea like that, sometimes it's not fleshed out, even though it's like a cool idea, and sometimes out of movies I'm like, they could have done something better with that.
Yeah,
but I think they utilized the cool idea, so I appreciated that.
Yeah, they definitely did. I think that was one good part that they had, or that was one of the parts that was really, really good about the movie was the fight scenes, action sequences. What are you thinking? Because I think we might say the same thing here.
Yeah, I would say that the villain remained a villain.
Yeah. And I actually saw that she was actually getting a lot of hate. I guess because they wrote her badly.
I don't know. I mean,
when you went aside from that, regardless of what you think about Dar-Benn, at least she stayed a villain.
Yeah, because it looked like they were gonna try reach an agreement there at the end. And then she was just like, nah. And then, Captain Marvel lifted that thing off of her, and then she tried to kill her. So I appreciated that. I mean, I feel like a lot of times the villain turns out just being like, oh, we're cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's been a trend recently for sure. Is that the villain will be a villain until it's a plot device, and then he becomes a good guy, and then they all work together. That's always been. That's been a thing here recently, and I'm glad they didn't do that for this movie as well. That was another thing they did well. I'm trying to think. There was something I was just thinking about that they did and that I really liked, and I can't remember it. I was literally just thinking about it.
I guess something else too. Why you think of it is I guess it's the same thing as Dar-Benn remaining a villain. Is that Photon or Monica remained lost? I mean, she'll probably come back at some point in the future, but I feel like a lot of times too, the hero doesn't they make a sacrifice, but they
don't make a sacrifice.
Yeah, they end up not having to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
And she did. I mean, I thought for sure that she was going to come back and there would be no loss, but there was, a pretty significant loss in this movie, which I appreciated. I think she'll be back at some point, and it also paved the way for
X-Men.
The X-Men too.
Yeah, so that's something that was really big was the obviously Beast was in it, but I do agree with that. And actually, we've seen that twice this weekend. Loki made the big sacrifice, and he didn't get anything back from it. So that's also cool. But I think the thing I was thinking about was the dynamic between the Marvels, between Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and Photon was actually really good. I did enjoy Captain Marvel was. She was very stoic in her first movie, didn't have much range at all. Not saying that Brie Larson doesn't have any range, but that she just didn't show any. And this movie helped fix that a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I agree, and I think the way they did it made a lot of sense. I feel like they explained it because she like kind of took out an entire race. Didn't take them out, but like thought she was helping them, and ended up like ruining the sun and the water and everything for them. So I think she felt bad about that, and then they kind of explained it when she was talking to Monica. It was like, that's why he didn't come back. So I think that they tried to make it make sense as to why she was like so stoic before. And then I like how Kamala kind of brought out emotion in her, because I feel like she looked at, I think it was like a drawing or something of Kamala's, and then she was like, okay, I need to be the hero she knows I am. And I appreciated that, because I felt a lot of emotion, probably the most yet from Carol. So
and then it was kind of like there was like a don't meet your heroes type thing going on, where like the first time they meet, Captain Marvel's barking out orders at Kamala, and Kamala's like, what? And there also like existed an interesting dynamic between Monica and Carol, and that like Monica was mad that Carol never came back, and like but it's weird because like Kamala is like a younger version of Monica. Like she's not tainted by the meeting your hero type thing. Whereas like Monica was, and so like Captain Marvel's having to deal with both of those like dynamics. And I like they did go into like deeper emotional scenes in this movie as well. I have a problem with the way that it was delivered, but like the fact that they even tried, I did appreciate that. Like it wasn't just mindless action the whole time. So like Marvel was very good about instituting those things, and then they kind of got out of it, and now they're getting back to it. So I was glad to see that in there.
I feel like it was a step in the right direction.
For sure,
So there was a lot of things I liked about it, and there's some other stuff that didn't land with me.
The singing scene did not land with me. I was not a fan of that.
And I understand, that this movie, is probably like when we were younger, aimed at younger audiences, like we were when we first started watching Marvel, which I appreciate, and that's something we can talk about later too. Is like Marvel Spotlight coming out and stuff like that. It'll be good to have a mix. So. And also the Young Avengers too. So it looks like they're setting that up. I saw some people say, they shouldn't make it a movie. I feel like a show would be good for the Young Avengers.
I agree with that. Like, kind of like a Titans type show. On I think it's on Max or something like that. But anyway, that was good. So those are the things that I liked about it that were pretty good. I guess like walking into things that we didn't like as much. I wasn't, like I said, I liked that they did the emotional scenes, but I feel like some of the dialogue and some of it it just felt flat or felt rushed. Or it felt cheesy. Flat, rushed, or cheesy. One of those, like all three of those things are one of those things. And not every line, but just some of it did.
I think rushed is the main thing. And this was, I think it was the shortest Marvel movie yet. 1 hour and 45 minutes. So, which I think worked well in some spots. Like, I feel like recently there's stuff in the movies that didn't need to be there. But also I think they could have extended it and made those scenes, the emotional scenes, more played out. Because and they went into it a little bit, but Carol hadn't seen Monica in what?
20 years, 30 years, maybe. 20, probably about 20, 25.
So I feel like they could have stayed there longer, and also I mean, in the whole Miss Marvel show, we saw how she looked up to Carol, too. I feel like they could have fleshed those scenes out more. And, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was rushed at moments.
It felt a little rushed, but then they also left the scene, like the singing scene in there that didn't really need to be, like, that didn't have to exist. So they could have used time otherwise or other places to compensate for. I mean, not that it was a bad story or anything. Like, I felt the emotional scenes, like they were in there, but I just wish they would have been more drawn out. And
something that I did find funny at the end is when the prince started talking and not singing. And Carol said he's bilingual. I thought that was funny because they were speaking the same language. They were just singing it. I thought that was a pretty funny line. But
I just think the emotional scenes lacked a certain punch. I think that's the best way to put it. Is like. It was there, it existed, but I think because it was rushed or some of the dialogue was a little bit on the more of the kid side than like I would say more mature dialogue, not in the sense that it's like for mature adults, but the person writing it is just very good at
Yeah.
it. Like, more mature. Like, it's just aged better, I guess.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like that, and I think they lacked the punch. But I appreciate that they put it in there anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I feel like something they could have definitely stayed on more was how Maria Rambeau died while Monica, and they did talk about it in WandaVision.
Yeah.
While she was blipped. And I feel like that's a pretty big deal, and that was just like one line.
Yeah.
Or two
and in
lines.
like a sequence in a dream or something like that. Yeah.
And that was, and I think it was cool how they did that. But after the dream, I feel like they could have talked about that more. And I did like how Kamala motioned Carol over to come hug her. I thought that was a good part, but I feel like they could have fleshed that out more because that was Carol's best friend.
So as for things that are going to happen, the results of this movie, I guess we should say.
Ramifications.
What do you think about... so obviously we got the X-Men and we got the Young Avengers. Let's talk about the Young Avengers first. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed that scene, how Kamala's just kind of in there. Kind of like Nick Fury style.
Yeah, Nick
recruiting.
Fury-esque, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. But I'm pretty excited for it. I saw, some people pitching the theory that maybe Miles could lead.
Dude, that would be fire.
That would be sick. Maybe Miles could lead the Young Avengers. But anyways, the two we know so far, Kamala and Kate Bishop.
And Cassidy.
Oh, and Cassie Lang.
Cassie, not Cassidy. Cassie.
Yeah, Cassie Lang.
She's been confirmed. I saw that on Twitter. So.
Yeah, that's a good lineup already. I feel like if you get Miles in there, people are going to be through the roof already.
Miles and who else maybe? Who else could you get as a kid superhero? Oh, maybe Ironheart? I don't know.
That's true. Ironheart. And then also, people have been saying like Wanda's two boys maybe.
Yeah.
But they're not in the MCU right now. So.
Yeah.
But, either way, I'm pretty stoked for it. I mean, the lineup we have confirmed, if they get Miles in there... Yeah, he's our man. So I mean that would be sick. I'm pretty excited for that. I hope they make it a TV show.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And then as for the X-Men, we got Beast confirmed as an X-Men. We also got Charles Xavier confirmed as well. So they're in a different reality right now. So do you think that like the X-Men exist in our current reality, or do you think they're gonna like bridge over at some point? What do you think is gonna happen there?
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like in this reality, all of the actors were the same because Maria Rambeau, I think, was the same actress. So maybe if we get more of that in another title somewhere, they'll bring over the same actors in our reality. But I don't know. I'm excited, man. I mean, I feel like that'll definitely. I heard they're about to announce the Fantastic Four. So X-Men and Fantastic Four, man, that's two of the biggest things.
Yeah.
In Marvel. So. Moving forward, man. Also, we have Hugh Jackman coming back, so I feel like they're really ramping up the X-Men, and that's something we've been waiting for
a long time. Yeah,
since MCU started.
It's just like the era of Team Marvel, dude. Like it's more than just the Avengers. Now we got the Avengers, Young Avengers, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, that's X-Men. True, so we've got a lot of. We had the Illuminati there for a minute too. So like, there's a lot of different teams coming up. So overall, like I think this movie did a lot in terms of setting up the next couple movies or next couple like storylines, I guess, in the MCU. So that was good. But as we close, any final thoughts?
I guess we can give our ratings of it real quick.
Okay.
I think I'm around a 6.5 or 7.
I think I'm a 6 or a 6.5. So I think we can call it a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5. I mean, I feel like I was definitely satisfied walking out of this, like we've talked about. I mean, I feel like they took a lot of right steps,
and hopefully they continue to take those right steps.
Yeah, and then we'll be cooking, man. I mean, we got Echo coming up, Deadpool 3. I mean, there's a lot. It's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking good. We don't know what's after Echo in terms of shows, but hopefully we'll get a little bit of a tease on that. So I'm excited. Hopefully, like we said, this movie builds a lot of good things. Hopefully, Marvel continues to build on that. But the big question is, what did you guys think? Did you like the movie? What did you like about the movie? Did you not like it? What did you not like? You get it. So what did you think about it? And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.